Okay, let's do one thing. We'll apply the fundamental things to make good 3D renders in our 3D scene. The best way to learn something is to use it practically, right? If you want to learn about these fundamental things that I'm talking about, check out my previous video. It will show up in the info card right about now. But in brief, references, modeling, texturing, and lighting are few of the most important things you have to take care about when making good 3D renders. And in this video, we'll try to use them practically to make a 3D render. This isn't necessarily a Blender tutorial, but more of a process breakdown and how these fundamental things come together for making a 3D render. But still, I try my best to be as beginner friendly as I can in this video. So we'll try to make a chair that's easy to make. Something like this. So let's make a 3D render of a chair with dramatic lighting. It'll probably cover everything we want to focus on, and probably even more. Let's keep things simple for the sake of this video. So the first thing is references. So at first we're going for the references and shit. So the first thing we are going to do is find references for two things. The first thing is for modeling, and the second thing is for lighting and composition. Well, actually these are three things, but let's just say two things. Okay, so yeah, so for example, we are going for just like I showed you, this is the kind of wooden table we are going for. We kind of would make something similar to this, so this is what we are going for. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is find the dimension of the chair. If you know the dimension, that's good, but if you don't know the dimension, this is a great website like dimensions.com. What you can do here is like you can search, for example, you search chair and you can find the dimension of whatever kind of chair you want. So there are different kind of a lot of different kind of chair, but what I chose was like is something which was similar to what we want, which is this IKEA's chair. So we can see that height, depth, width, seat height, material. We can even get material. So all sorts of stuff we can get from here, and we can also get a 3D model. Like I think they get, yeah, on Dimension Pro they also let you download. But anyway, this is more than enough for us because we are actually modeling on our own. We are trying to put it as simple as possible so that it is easier to follow. So yeah, this works good. So this is for the modeling point of view. So for the references point of view, I usually go here, Pinterest, and just typing chair. Okay, so after typing chair, I get these kind of images. So it all depends on the kind of lighting and composition you want to give, but for the sake of this tutorial, let's just say that we are getting a bright kind of like look, something like, I guess, this is a good reference for the kind of theme we are going for. This is also good, but it is kind of like, I don't know, it gives a cold feeling for some reason, but this is something more like it. So we're trying to, you can take as much time as you want to find the references, and it is up to you wherever you want to find the references. This is just one example. You can find it on Pinterest. It's easier to get it on Pinterest. Yeah, this also would work, although there are few different things you have to, well, we are not gonna model that, but still, this is also good, and this is kind of good as well. It also gives the kind of bright light, and a lot of models here are very plain. Well, actually they are not, they are designed for the purpose of like showing the model, putting the emphasis on model. That's why they're on plain white background. But anyway, This also looks good, but it has very weird angle, but still, let's just see. Yeah, this also works. And yeah, you can take as much time as you want. I think we're done here, but you can take as much time. Yeah, this also looks good with the plant on the side and the light from behind. Yeah, you can take as much time as you want. Okay, so now that we got some ideas for the kind of lighting and composition we want, we'll set it aside for later and focus on modeling. So I usually get models from the clients or ready-made models for practicing purposes, but for the sake of this tutorial and breakdown, I'll make one. The way you move your mouse, the way you navigate in this 3D Blender is, well, you select things from left click, which is pretty intuitive. But if you want to move around your object, you hold your middle mouse button and then move it. So these two things are probably the things that you want to think about. These two things are mainly the ways you navigate. But yeah, there's one more thing, and which is zoom in and zoom out, which is by scrolling up or down. Okay, so we are in modeling phase. We are basically going to model this chair. It is the simplest chair you can model. I purposely chose this because it would be easier to follow, and let's just be honest, I'm not that good at modeling. So it would be easier for me to do it without, making a fool out of me. But anyway, so we are doing this chair. So there are two ways to model. It is not like, in my opinion, there's two ways to model. One is like a block by block. Like, for example, I just put one block over other and one block over other, and that's how you do it. Like, for example, that's how this chair was made, right? So all these things were made differently, like separately, and then put together by nails and glue and stuff like that. So that's the one way to do it here. And the second way to do it is, don't worry about all those settings. I'll explain it later. And the second way to do it is by kind of like this. So you're kind of like making it, I don't know I forgot what it was called, but yeah, this is the second way to make it, like extruding things over, like it. The reason it is better is because it saves a lot of polygons, and if you don't know, polygons is just like a website from, I'm just kidding. The polygons are like the stuff 3D model is made out of. And yeah, there are different ways to show a 3D representation, but polygon is one way to show it, and Blender predominantly uses polygons. I think there's a different way to, but anyway, we're going off topic now. So you gotta have as less polygons as you can, especially in things like games, because all the things are happening in real time, and if you would have a lot of polygons, then your game would get really slow. So that's why there are different ways to model things, but we don't care about games right now, so we are going to make it block by block, right? So we are going to make this base, we are going to make these legs, we are going to make this, whatever it is called, and we're going to make headrest, and that's how we're going to make it. So first thing is, what's the first thing? We have to take a cube. So how do I get the cube? I actually can get from add and mesh and cube, or there's a shortcut which I used, shift A and then go to mesh and then cube. So I have a cube. As you can see, we can squish that cube down to this base. So in order to do that, we can just, forgot to tell you. So how do we do that? We are going to, there are different ways to do it, but I can tell you the simplest way. So what you're going to do is press S for scale, so S, and you can press X, Y, or Z to tell Blender where you're going to scale it, in which direction you're scaling it. For example, if we want to scale on Z axis, that's what we are going to choose, and we can scale it up and down with the mouse. I'm just moving mouse and it is doing up and down. Okay, so let's just scale it right about here. Okay, right about here. So that kind of looks like this, but I guess it is thick. So we are going to press S and then Z, and we are going to scale it until it gets to this point. Now it kind of looks like this, right? And okay, so right now I'm going to skip two things, which is really important, but the reason I'm skipping that is for you to be able to grasp it easily. The two things that I'm skipping is, first is dimensions, and the second thing is different things that we do in order to make a model look more realistic. Maybe I will do it here, but I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. I'll try my best to tell you, but that's what I'm probably gonna skip. So the reason I'm skipping these two things is obviously it would just be a very big video. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big video, but it would be a huge video if I just keep showing every fucking thing. So okay, now where do we go from here? We have this cube, right? Now we wanna get these legs. Okay, so we are going to get these legs. So how we're going to get these legs? Well, obviously shift A, mesh, cube. Okay, so we are going to make it a leg, right? So that's what we are going to do. So you know the drill. Select this cube, press S, and first of all make it so that it roughly looks like at least two dimensions are roughly around this leg. So I think if we would make these legs this much, then it would be great. So right now it is in the middle. So how we can get it here or here, because we gotta put them there, right? So there's one way to move this, which is pressing G. G is for move. I don't know why they put on G, but I guess it is easier. So pressing G, and you can move your mouse, and wherever you want to put it you can put. But if you want to restrict the dimension where you're putting it, what you can do is press G, and then again, just like we did for scaling, press X, Z, or Y to whichever place we are putting it on. So let's just put it right about here. We're just eyeballing things, don't worry about it. You can learn all of these things later by someone else probably. Okay, so again, like this. So we are about here. So as you can see that this is kind of how it is. And look, I'm cheating here because I think that the way the chair is made is they put some kind of like a hole or something, and then they put all the nails and stuff down so that this thing is hollow, and they put the legs down there because I think that's how it is looking like, right? But I'm cheating here, and I guess you can also. We are going to put it like this. Okay, I don't know how it is made. Maybe it is made in a different way, but we're going to put it like this. The purpose of this tutorial is to make you learn 3D, not to be a master of like everything. You definitely should learn these things on the way, so you can fine tune it, but we gotta do it very quickly, right? Because it is already too long of a video. So anyway, so we are going to scale it. So we are going to press S, and then again, but here's a problem, like it is scaling both ways. But if I want to make this leg go down, I wouldn't be able to. I don't know, maybe there's a way to scale it so that it just goes down. Well, there is a way, but I'm not gonna go there. But there's a different way you can do it, and easily, which is to go to edit mode. So how do we go to edit mode? Well, simple. You press here while selecting the object, press here and go to edit mode, or you can press and hold tab, and you can go to edit mode. Now here's the thing, this way you can change a lot of things about the object you're editing. That's why it is called the edit mode. So there are 3 ways you can change your object, which is the first is vertex mode, vertex select, so you can individually select all the vertices, and the second is edge select, where you can select the edges, and the third is, well, obviously face select, where you can change the face. Now here's the thing, you can actually easily like select the face and then press G to move it down, and you can easily get, you know, a leg. It's kind of looking like a leg, right? But you can do also one thing. Sometimes what you have to do is like, you know, for example, you have this. Now what you want to do is, let's just say that there's a protrudence out of this, like you want to make something protrude out of it. But if you would do like that, it probably won't work, because dude, it is just going all the way, like from head to toe, from leg to leg. It is going all the way, but that's not what you want to do. So how would you do it? Well, you can kind of the one way you can do it, you can extrude it. So what I did here is I pressed E, and then I can press X, Y, and Z, but Blender already tells you where you can where is the best direction you can extrude it. So right now it is telling me that Z is the best direction. So pressing E and then moving down, up and down your mouse, and I can put it, for example, let's just put it here. Okay, so now I have these two things. Now I can easily now I can just easily make a protuberance and then just keep going. Oh wait, sorry, keep going to make my leg, not my leg, chair's leg. Okay, this is the one thing that you can do. The second way you can do is, let's just say that you already made this. Dude, you already made this. Now what are you going to do? So the second way to do is to press Ctrl plus R, and well, I'm talking about like Windows, and so when you press Ctrl plus R, you can kind of like cut things in two halves, right? So you can cut this way or this way. So when you would press, you can move it up and down. So if you want to put it around here, you can click it and then accept it, and then you can simply go here, face mode, and just press E. Oh, I'm sorry. Press E and then extrude it. So this is the second way. So we don't want to do that. I don't know why I went there. I'm sorry. That's a very big tangent. Anyway, so this is the leg. I guess this is the leg, right? It looks like a leg. So maybe a bit more. Okay, so this is a leg. We made this, right? All right, so we can copy this actually and put it on all four. So how are we going to do it? Well, we can actually duplicate it, right? So the way we duplicate in Blender is pressing Shift plus D. Now, as soon as I did that, you can move the duplicated part any way you want. So, and if you would press right click, it would just go back to that place. It would still be there, but it would just go back to that place where it was. So we can again move, pressing G and pressing X. We can kind of eyeball, and let's just say that we're gonna put it about here, right? So these are two legs, and now let's do a smart thing. Well, that's not that smart, but still, we can duplicate both of these at the same time. So we're going to press Shift plus D, and now we can, while it is selected, you can press X, Y, or Z, whichever you want. Like if I have to move it across there, so I would press Y and I would move it about here, eyeballing, and then moving it about here. So this is a great ass looking chair. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is something of a chair, I guess. It is kind of like narrow, but it's all right. We got this. All right. So these are 4 legs and a chair. So now what we want to do is actually make whatever this is, and make a headrest here. So we can actually do it in a lot of different ways. We can actually put something here and then but let's just do it in this way. So we went to the edit mode, and then we extruded it just a tiny bit. Okay, just a tiny bit, so that we can, okay, not tiny bit, maybe bit more than tiny bit. So we can extrude it about here. So now we can press select this face, and then then we can go and extrude this. Now this looks, I guess it looks like a chair, I guess. Well, there's a hollow thing around there, so maybe we can make it like that. Maybe we can make it hollow. Alright, so what we can do here to make it hollow, well, we can make this, I guess, and make it around like here, I guess, and make one more and make it around here. So now we can actually take these two, extrude it, and put it above. Now we got this, right? Now we got this. And now if we want to make both of these connect, we can do that as well. How we can do this? Well, we can make, by pressing Ctrl+R, you can get these cuts and you can put it about here, right? You can put it about here, and the same on here, around here. Alright, so now you can select this face and this face, and there's a way to connect these, in which is F. Oh, I'm sorry. You can actually right click and bridge faces. I guess this is like that, but to make it even, if you didn't catch that, so you select this and select this by pressing shift. So these both are selected, and in order to bridge these faces, well, first of all, you have the requirement, I think it is a requirement that you gotta have the same number of vertices. So this has 4, this has 4. Now what you're going to do is right click and bridge faces. So it is kind of looking like that chair, kinda. But let's just, because it is protruding out just a little bit, so we can select both these. Well, it is not looking good, I'll tell you that, but anyway, so we can press we can press E and we can extrude it a little bit. So now this looks like a chair, kinda. it looks really stupid chair, but that's how you make it for the first time. So this is the chair we made. There's one more thing you can do, and let me just tell you, because we're going for a realistic look, right? This does not look realistic at all, but still, let's try to make it realistic. Okay, so let's select these legs, because these will be easiest to do. So select this leg and go to edit mode and select all. You can press Ctrl+B, and now you would have something like this. It is kind of like beveling that leg, right? And now you will be asking me, like, why would we need to bevel this thing? Because here it kind of looks like those edges are really sharp, but here's where that's very wrong, because in real life you would always have some kind of bevel in the edges. You would never get sharp edges, no matter what. Even if your knife is very sharp, even then there would be some kind of bevel. So in real life you would never have that. So you would always try to put bevel. And if you want to put a bevel between just two, just common edge here, for example, you just select the edge and press Ctrl plus B, and you can move up and down and you can bevel it. So there's two things you can do. There's a few things you can do is, well, first of all, you can you can move it up and down, and it would determine how much you want to bevel. And the second thing is you can scroll up and down, and this will tell you what level of beveling you want to do. So right here, you can see that this is kind of like very sharp, very not sharp, but very like, now it kind of looks like real life, right? This is how it will look in a lot of different chairs. So that's how you do it. So, well, it is for just for one, but if you want to do it for all, you can just select all and press Ctrl+V and then do it just a tiny bit, just a tiny bit, so that you can get about here. So, well, actually in hindsight it would have been a better option, a better thing to just make this and then copy this. But anyway, we can do it one by one. That's what we're doing here, right? That's why we are learning. So go to edit mode and select all. Yeah, by the way, you can press A to select all. You can press A to select all. So Ctrl+B and make it a little bit, just a little bit, so that it will be looking good. And you can do it for every object. Alright, you can do it for every object. I guess about here. Okay, so for this you can do the same thing, but it would depend. Well, depending on the complexity of the object, it probably would be difficult for you to blend all the things. For this, I think it will be easy because it's not that complex. So now it is kind of like a real life object. Kinda. Okay. So this is how you model things. You can do a lot of things. I mean, if you would just go there are a lot of different things you need to consider, but I just made a basic chair, which is probably looking even worse than this. The more things, you can do a lot of different things to make it better. For example, like if you go in this and you can select all of this. Yeah, a downside of the beveling we did is we changed its geometry, and now it would be very difficult for you to model things because you wouldn't be able to put all, you would be able to put, but it would be difficult for you to manage this if you want to do more kind of editing. So that's why sometimes it is much better for you to use modifiers. For example, this. For example, just select this and go to this wrench, and there are a lot of modifiers for you to select. So you can select whichever modifier you want, and you can there's bevel modifier even. So you can select this. I think the reason why it's not working right now is probably because we have already given it a lot of like geometry, and it is not working with that. But that's pretty much what it is, what we did here. So yeah, this is the basic model. Okay, now we're on to texturing. Okay, so before we start texturing, let me tell you something which is kind of important for texturing, and sometimes when you would do simulation in Blender, for example, like water simulation or something like that, it will be probably be important for you. The thing is that you have to, whenever you change your scale, by pressing S, you're changing the scale. If you can see it, if you can click it here, and you can see the scale is like 1 1 and minus 0.162. This is scale, this is not dimension. The dimension is this. The scale is telling the software that this is its scale, and you pretty much only want to put it on 1 1 1 when you are trying to put any kind of like texturing or doing any kind of simulation, because it works the best that way, because obviously. So but we have changed it, and obviously we have changed it to make our object. So what we are going to do is reset it to 1 1 1, but we are not going to do it like this because it would be terrible. So what we are going to do is select the object, right click, and I'm sorry, select the object, go to object and apply, and there are different kind of things you can apply: location, rotation, scale, auto transforms, rotation and scale. So all these things are for different things, but we have only changed scale, right? That's the main thing we changed. So that's why we are going to change scale, apply scale. So now it's fun, right? So that's what we are going to do with everything. So yeah, there's a shortcut for this would be to select the object, press Ctrl and A, and you can do it like this. It would be easier for you to do it like this. Okay, so everything is just getting to 1. Now everything is 1 at 1. It is a good practice to put everything at 1 so that you won't have any problems. Okay, so now straight to texturing. Okay, so we are going to use this texture like I said before. So in order for you to download this, you can download it in a blend file, but I would like to have the textures on its own so that I can tell you how to put it in your project. So that's why I'm putting it in zip. So we are not selecting blend and GLTF file, we are just selecting all these files. Well, even though occlusion is not needed, but let's just select like roughness and metallic and diffuse, displacement, normal, and roughness. Well, let's just put the JPG file of roughness, and also this JPG file of roughness, and all of these things would be the same. So we will download this as zip. Alright, so after downloading, we can go to our blend file. Okay, so we are in our blend file. Here we have made this model, which really looks lame, but for the sake of this tutorial, let's just say that it is an amazing model made by me. Anyway, so yeah, in order for you to put textures on it, first of all, in order for you to see any texture, on top right, you can see different spheres. All these different spheres show different kind of things. For example, like this wireframe would show you wireframe mode. This will show you, well, the basic so that you can model things. And this is where we want to go at first, which is texture mode. So this is where we want to go to put textures in order for us to see how they would look. And the fourth thing is shading. This is where we actually show and render the final product. So let's just go here on textures, right? So these things, what we want to do is we want to take all these faces like this. We want to take all these faces and we want to put all these faces on the the blend file. I'm sorry, my head is racing right now. We want to put all these faces and put the texture that we downloaded and put all those textures on these faces with all their different attributes so that it will look like a real chair. So how are we going to do it? Well, I don't know. I gotta see a tutorial for it. I'm just kidding. So what we're going to do is go to, well, I forgot. What we're going to do is go to UE editor mode. This is where we can see our UE editor, I guess. So the UE editor, for example, I'm sorry, I forgot to explain. UE editor is kind of like where we put textures and put it on our object. So we are going to put textures here. So let me put the textures now. So I'm going to go here. I'm gonna put this texture, for example. I'm gonna open this. Now this is the texture that I'm going to put, but for some reason it is not showing here, even though we are on texture mode. So the reason it is not showing here is because we haven't set it in our shader. So we have to set it both in here so that we can correctly place wherever we want, and in shader so that we can tell the software that this is the file we are using to on this chair. So in order for us to do that, we have to go here and then go to shader editor, right? So we haven't even used a material for this object. So we for anyone new, material is something that you give to an object to give a material obviously. So for example, this chair, it should have like a wooden texture, maybe veneer, maybe something else. I don't know, I'm not a carpenter, but you would give that material to this. You would tell software here that you're giving this material to this object. So that's why you would have a material here. So we are going to make a new material for this. We can just say that it is a wooden chair, I don't know. Okay, so we are shown here with this principal BSDF and material output. Well, output is just like telling that this is what we are outputting, and principal BSDF is kind of like a shader. It is all the different information of what kind of material it is. For example, how rough it is, how metallic it is, how, I don't know, a lot of different things. Is it transparent like water, or is it opaque like wood? So these are the kind of things that we put here, and there are different kind of shaders. If you can put, you can press Shift plus A, and you can see a lot of different kind of things, and you can put whatever you want here. Here's the shaders that you can put here, a lot of different shaders, and there are a lot of different things you can put, but no, let's just not go there because you would just confuse yourself. So principal BSDF. This is what we need to use. So even now, right now, we can actually use it. Like, for example, we can change the base color of our object, right? We can put it whatever we want. We can put it pink, we can put it blue, we can put green, lime, whatever. But instead of base color, we want to actually tell it that instead of base color, give the color of a chair. That's pretty much it is what it is. So you would put a base text, an image of the texture you want to put here. So in order for you to do that, you would press Shift A and put on search and put image texture. Now you have the image texture. Just connect the color to base color right now. So now you can give something to this. Let's just give it the wooden texture. We have already uploaded the wooden texture here, so it is already showing, but you can put on click on open and then select your wooden texture. Right now we only want to put diffuse version of it. Diffuse version is basically like what is the basic color of the texture, right? So we are going to put diffuse. Here you go, we have a texture here. So that's how you put a texture. And you can do the same thing for this as well, right? We can see these four the legs. We can even put this same material on this. So what we can do is select one and click on this and select the already made material. So here we can change a lot of different legs in order for us to put it like this. So here you go, this is the wooden chair, but it obviously is looking weird right here, right?
And that's the kind of thing you have to fix in UV editor. So you have to change a lot of things in UV editor to do it, but of course it is the most annoying thing. Nobody likes UV editing because it annoys a lot of people. So I think we're gonna skip it because even I don't like it. So let's just skip it for now, and maybe we'll see it for the next time.
And finally, lighting. Now the references we have collected would come in handy because we'll set up both lighting and composition for the 3D render. Okay, so the final thing that we want to do, which is my favorite thing to do, is to obviously do the composition and lighting. So there you would, first of all, what you will do is make a backdrop. Why backdrop? So that you can, for example, let's just go for this, this reference. It looks really simple. I'm just saying that it looks really simple. It probably would be a little difficult, but let's just see. So but the main thing is that we don't need a lot of different things for it. So we would put our chair like this in this direction, and we will use this backdrop. This is kind of like a backdrop, right? So this is what we will make, and it is kind of easy to make, so let's just make a backdrop. So Shift A, mesh, and let's just make a plane at first, so we can put it down there so that it just is, I guess, making contact with the chair. By the way, here's one tip. You can press the tilde key, and when you hold that tilde key, you can go to all the different direction. For example, if you want to see the chair if you want to see anything as from the front view, you can press that, and now this is the front view of the chair. So you can, it is easier for you to use that so that you can put things where you want to put. So let's just say that this is the ground. So scale it up, and that will do the let's just let's just go to edit mode, select this edge and extrude it by from E, and you can select the direction, which would be Z direction. So this is basically a backdrop, right? There's one more thing you can do to make this backdrop, which is to select this edge and Ctrl+B to bevel and make this bevel, which you probably have seen in a lot of different backdrops. But let's just not do it because this does not have that. So let's just not do it. Okay. So this is the backdrop. Now what to do? Now we need a camera, right? So we already in default file we already have a camera. So, or if you want to put a camera, you can press Shift A and then go to camera, and you can put a camera. But when you have multiple camera, you have to select which camera you want to use. You cannot use multiple cameras at once. So that so you go here and you select the this thing which is called scene properties, and you can go here and select the camera you want. So right now we only have one. So now how do we see what the camera is showing? Because that's what we need, right? That's what we need to see. So in order for you to do that, you would just press numpad 0. So when you press numpad 0, you go in and out of that. Okay, so that's how we see the camera. But how do we move the camera? Well, the one way you can move the camera is select that and press G in order to move it. But that would be very, very weird for because you cannot do it. Would be very, very weird, very difficult for you to do anything from it. Like it would be very difficult for you to do something from this way. It is a way to do it, but it is something a beginner do. I mean, without any tutorial. But I'll tell you a way to do it more efficiently. So what you will do is go to this. I don't know what this is called. Wait. You select lock camera to view. When you lock this camera to view, whatever you do while you are on camera mode, whatever you do, whatever kind of navigation you do, your camera will just stick to it. So now you can easily put camera wherever you want. Maybe zoomed out, zoomed in. Just remember to just turn it off when you're done with it, because a lot of times what happens is that a lot of times I forget to turn it off, and then I would just move it and it just ruins the anyway. So let's just put the camera in the way that this is. So let's just put it like this. Well, we can actually change the chair as well, because it would be easier for us to do. Let's just put it like this and remove this and then select the chair. Okay, we actually have not, this is for the sake of so that we can easily move this. let's just select all of it here, and then right click and Ctrl J, join. So now we can just easily move this. Okay, so now we can just press G, press R to rotate, and then you can just rotate it. Right now you can see that this, the point of axis where it is moving from, it is at this leg, which we don't want right now. We want to move it from the center. So what we'll do is go to object and set origin and put the origin to geometry. Now it is almost like on in the center, so that we can change it like this. So let's just go to camera mode and press R and change it the way we want to change, right? I guess like this. And I guess the camera is down there, like this, right? This is how the camera is here. It is it is showing from the down. So I guess you can do it like this. And if you can see here, well, actually this is not in the same dimension, aspect ratio. We can change that, but for the sake of this tutorial, let's just go to this dimension, 16:9 dimension. Okay, so we can actually put it like this. All right, or maybe like this. All right, so yeah, let's just say that this is our final composition. This is how we want this to be. All right, great. So this is how we will shot it. This is how we will render it. So now let's just go to this, which is a light mode. So this is how it looks like. This is how it kind of looks like when we would render it. It kind of looks kind of okay as it is, but obviously we want to change things. So first of all, what we will change is actually give the material to this backdrop. So select the material and go to this. Just put it, go to this shader editor, and we'll just give it material, and let's just rename it. Okay, for some reason my recorded part was deleted somehow. I don't know how, but I guess I gotta do it again, small part of it. So yeah, I was telling you about this, changing the backdrop color, right? So yeah, after changing the name backdrop, we can change the base color, and that's pretty much what we want to do for this. Because it's a backdrop, our main focus is on this. So after that, what you should do is take or put a light. So after going like on this, obviously, well, I've already said it, just like I said, like all the recorded things have deleted, but that's what we're going at. This, okay, this is what we were going at, right? So in order for us to do this, or what we'll do is add, first of all, we will just make sure that there is no for example, let me just show you. Okay, so this is how it should be when we are doing the lighting from scratch. This is how it should be, but usually it is kind of like this. It is kind of like this, kind of like this, and it is okay. But when you're doing lighting from scratch, if it just mess up with your lighting. So make sure to go to world settings and put the strength to 0. This is actually the place where you put HDRI, and if you know what HDRI is, if you don't know what HDRI is, it is kind of like a 3D, like a spherical, lighting system. This is called a lighting system, which will just make an environment, reflected light. It is kind of like a reflected light of the environment. So for example, you could just put an indoor HDRI, and you can use that to reflect that on your object. But anyway, we're not using HDRI here, so we have to put it down to 0 so that we are not getting any light from anywhere else, so that it doesn't mess with our scene. So after doing this, after putting the strength to 0, what we will do is add a light, right? So right now I actually have added, I can actually do it again, don't worry about it. Like let's put an area light, obviously by Shift A and going to light and area light. Now this is an area light. Okay, so right now it is very dim. As you can see that this is not lighting a lot of different things, so it is very dim. Well, actually it is not that dim, but we have not made this scene to scale, so that's why it is, because it is right now 10 watts, and even 100 watts should, in real life 100 watts should be able to light up a room pretty decently. But right now it is not doing it because we've not put anything to scale. For example, like this thing, even this thing would be like where it is, even this thing is like 20 meter by 20 meter. That's why it is not, that light, that 100 watt light is not working, because this is a 20 meter by 20 meter room. Like, you shouldn't do this in practice, you shouldn't do this, but since this is a beginner's tutorial, that's why I'm doing it, so that it is easier for you to do it. Otherwise you just change the dimension accordingly, according to the room, just like I said in the beginning. Yeah, you change your dimension accordingly. A chair should not be 2 meter by 2.33 meter by 4.76 meter, but you get the idea. So that's why it is at 100 watt. Even at 100 watt it is not doing any significant thing. That's why we're going to put it, for the sake of this tutorial, let's just put it on this, and it is looking really, really bright. But that's okay, because we're going to put it somewhere else. So we are going to put it about here. We can actually put it, just like this. Yeah, I guess put it like this, and kind of like, yeah, you can just play around with this thing however you want, and that's how you will put the light. And there's one more thing you can do is take the spread and change it however you want. So if I do this spread, it looks really cinematic, right? But that also brings something else as well, because now your object looks like, what do you call that? I forgot the word, but it is kind of like blown out, like you cannot see any details. So yeah, do it wisely. So yeah, where'd it go? Yeah, here. So yeah, accordingly you just put everything the way you want to put according to your reference, and when you're done with it, well, when I was done with it, it was kind of like this, which I'm gonna admit it's not looking good, and I could have done much better job than this, especially in this texture. Especially in this texture, because this is not how it should look. It's definitely not how it should look, but this is just for the sake of this tutorials, so that's why I'm doing it like this. Okay, so once you're done with this, once you finally figured out that this is what we want to render, let's just forget about animation for now, but let's just say that you want to, you know, render this in an image. What you'll do is go to render and render image, and that will render this. Now there's a lot of different things like samples, and well, there's not that much here, but for example, sample, it just dictates how much light you're capturing, kind of like, yeah, how much light you're capturing. So right now it is 64, which it should not be for very high resolution, not high resolution, like high detail things. Right now it's just a basic chair, so it doesn't matter that much for the sake of this demonstration. So if you would save this, if you want to save this when it is done rendering, right now it isn't, but when it is done, you can click on save as and save your image. And there you go. Now you've seen how you can make 3D renders using all the fundamental concepts, and now you can use this to make your own stuff. If you did, I would love to see it. Mention me on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, or wherever you post them. I hope someone found this useful. I probably will be back with more videos, or maybe not, or maybe I don't know, I'll be a rapper, or maybe I don't know, man, what I'll do. Just shut up. All right.